In this tutorial, we're going to look at the frame properties now. Our first frame property is size. This is similar to our application size. It works the same way. We can choose these presets here, or we can enter our own custom pixel dimensions. But the application size, this is the actual size of our application. No matter what, our application is not going to be any bigger than this size. If we make a size that's bigger than this, then we'd have to add scrolling to our application so that we could see the whole frame, and it would scroll over within the size of the application. The virtual width and virtual height, we're going to look at that when we do scrolling later. Background color, we can add a background color to our frame. So if we just click here, we can choose a color, and now we can see the background of our frame is that color. We can choose other, and then we can get this Windows color selector here. We can click anywhere in the color selector, and that will give you a color. Then you can adjust the brightness and darkness of the color here, and then you just press OK, and then that color will be applied. Palette here. If we had selected on 256 colors, then if we choose edit here, then we could choose which 256 colors we want. Fade in, if we want our application to fade in or out, we use these options here. And it's not just fading, it can be any transition. So if we click on it and then press edit, then we have all these transitions to choose from. I just chose turn, and now if we run our frame, then we can see the application comes in with that turn, and then when we want to close our application, it will go out using one of these. If we run it, now we can see it came in with the turn. Now we close it and it's going out with a push. Then we also have our Runtime Options tab here. This will make the background of the frame will be a snapshot of the desktop. You can use this to make, if you are making a screensaver that was transparent, then you could use this. Keep display from previous frame. This will make the background of the frame will be the display left by the previous frame. So if a previous frame ended, then our next frame's background would be how the previous frame ended. That's what this would do. Handle background collisions even out of window. This option will make it so if in our event editor we use a collide option, if we use that, then this will, even if the collision happens when it's not in the main window, then it will still happen instead of not happening. Display frame title in window caption. If we have this selected, then when we run our frame, we can see we have the name of our application followed by a dash and then the name of our frame. If we do not have this selected, then we can see that we do not have that frame, that dash in the frame, but we still have our application name. Resize to screen size at start. This option will, it will resize to the size of your screen. So if your screen was an 800 by 600 resolution, then your application would resize your frame to be that size. Then we have the no display surface. This will, if your frame had only buttons and check marks and things like that, then you can save memory by checking this option. No display surface will be created. So, but you cannot display backgrounds or active objects or things like that. Force load on call option for all objects. We won't look at that for now. No display surface. We already looked at this a second ago. So then we have the screensaver setup frame. If you're making a screensaver, then this will in the control panel, let's go to the control panel, and then we choose appearance and themes, and then screensaver. If we choose the settings, this will open the current frame. If you have this selected, that will open that frame to choose settings for the screensaver. Then we have number of objects. The more objects you choose, the slower your application will run. Then we can have a password here to access this. If we run our application, and then if we're on any frame and we go to password, we don't have password option right there right now. Let's add another frame in our storyboard editor. New frame. We have 2 frames now. If we run our application, then we would have, and then we would add a password to our menu here, and then that we could open that box and type in a password from any frame, and that would bring us to the frame of that the password is on. You can also change the password for a frame inside of the storyboard editor. The about folder is the last folder, and in that folder you can enter the name of the frame, which can also be edited by right-clicking on the frame here and choosing rename. Let's close this. Right-clicking here and choosing rename, or in the storyboard editor you can rename it also there. That's going to be all for our frame properties tutorial.